Leah Murphy, 3828, in the cafeteria, notices commotion, northwest door. I saw a guy recognized as redacted. He was running. Stair had his blonde hair down. It's past his shoulders. He's about 6 foot tall. Skinny. He is wearing a long black trench coat. I saw nothing in his hands. He was observed a short distance from whatever was going on at the door. My thought was that redacted was involved if there was a fight. Stair named in the cafeteria map, page 3830. Leah also immediately picked him out of a photo lineup. I asked Leah if she was certain that the individual was redacted. Leah said, "Oh yeah, I'm certain. I saw his face full on. I remember seeing his face completely." She said he stood in place for 15 seconds. I remember him graduating last year. Dylan Klebold didn't graduate in 1998. She remembers him wearing makeup on his face and hand, and because of that, he stood out from other students. Page 3836. Leah recants in her third interview, which occurred October 1999. Why would she recount? I mean, she was so sure. Let's examine the testimony here. And the document number I'm getting here starts on 3827. I don't know how accurate these old-time forms are. Maybe they're a little off. But this is, Leah Murphy is 3827. So if Joe Stair is closer to, let's say, 6 foot 6'1", would she be more likely to say that he's about 6 as opposed to Dylan Klebold, 6'3", maybe looking a little taller in shoes? I mean, I don't know. But Dylan Klebold does not have long hair past his shoulders. He has long-ish wavy hair, but not really long hair past his shoulders like Joe Stair. So let's read her comment here. Now, keep in mind, these reports day of or day after, I mean, things are going to be fresh in their mind. Who knows what happened so many months later? And her testimony here, I mean, she's stating that she got a clear look at his face for 15 consecutive seconds and explicitly remembers his long hair past his shoulders and him graduating last year. So the following was a result of a personal interview conducted by Detective R. Polak. On Tuesday, April 20th, 1999, I had come to the cafeteria from math class at about 11:15 a.m. I purchased my food and sat down with my friends, Tasha, Nigaran, Anna Marie, Kelly. I then went to the pop machines by the teacher's lounge. I noticed some commotion at the door. I thought it was a fight or something and walked over that way to get a better look. Outside, by the corner of the building, I saw a guy recognized as redacted. He was running, but I couldn't tell where. He was running to or from. Stair had his blonde hair down. So it looks like they forgot to redact. Because if it was Joseph Stair and the first name is long, now it says Stair. Did the person doing redacted think she was talking about a staircase and they forgot to redact his name here? Had his blonde hair down, it's past his shoulders. He's about 6 foot tall, skinny. He was wearing a long dark trench coat. I saw him from his waist up. I saw nothing in his hands. So again, does this prove he was a shooter? No. Does this prove he's there at 11:15-ish? Running around, being spotted by a bunch of people? Maybe. He was observed a short distance from whatever was going on at the door. My thoughts were that redacted was involved if there was a fight. Someone started yelling that somebody was shot, and the janitor yelled for everyone to get down. I got under a table, and Mike Levon, Shannon Ryan, and Tasha Olson, we stayed there for about 5 minutes. I heard shots while under the table. I saw people running towards the other end of the cafeteria. I got up and ran toward the east end of the room. I grabbed my backpack off the table. I had been with my friends. I ran into the lower auditorium and out the other doors. I went out by the teacher's parking and came home to call my mother. That night, I showed my mother, Colleen, my 1998 yearbook and pointed out redacted. This same picture was shown to Detective Polak. I also signed a photocopy of the yearbook picture of redacted. So in her questionnaire, this is the Team 4 interview guideline, minimal questions to be asked. Question 1, did you ever see 2 large duffel bags in the cafeteria? No. Question 2, did you see anyone carrying or in the possession of those duffel bags at a previous time? No. 3, did you see Eric Harris or Dylan Klebold either on Monday or Tuesday? What were they doing? What did they say? Were they with anywhere else? Don't remember seeing them. Don't remember ever seeing them. So a follow-up report here. This is April 30th, 99 for the interview. Leiha told me that she assumed a fight was taking place upon looking through the windows on the west side of the cafeteria, directly west of tables WW and VV. She saw an individual whom she identified as Redacted. Leiha told me that Redacted was standing on or near the sidewalk approximately 10 to 15 feet west of the windows next to tables WW, VV. Leiha said, I saw Redacted. I think I saw him because he was away from the crowd outside. I asked Leiha what this individual was wearing. Leiha said he was wearing his trench coat and he had his hair down. Leiha told me the trench coat was black. I asked Leiha if she happened to notice anything unusual or any distinguishing marks or features on the trench coat. Leiha said that she did not. I asked Leiha if she was certain that this individual was Redacted. Leiha said, oh yeah, I'm certain. She then said, I saw his face full on. I remember seeing his face completely. Also keep in mind, Dylan Klebold did not have a mustache or sideburns. Joe Stair has a mustache and sideburns and long hair past his shoulders. Leiha then said, I remember him graduating last year. I asked Leiha if she personally knew Redacted. Leiha told me that she did not personally know him, but she remembered him from last year. Leiha said that on certain occasions she remembered him wearing makeup on his face and hands, and because of that, he stood out from other students. So she had seen him in the past frequently enough to know that. I asked Leiha what this individual was doing when she saw him. Leiha said, I remember him standing. I thought he had just been involved in a fight. Leiha said that she did not remember him holding anything in his hands. I remember him running, starting to run. I asked Leiha if she remembered in what direction this individual ran. Leiha told me that she did not remember the direction. I asked Leiha if she specifically remembered this individual actually running. Leiha said he was either walking really fast or was running. It was not just a stroll or regular walk. Leiha told me that after she recognized Redacted, he stood in place for approximately 15 seconds, whereupon she heard someone from the crowd yell, get down. Leiha said she does not remember specifically who yelled this, but thinks it may have been a custodian who she remembers standing by the door among the crowd of students. Leiha describes the custodian as a white male, upper 30s to mid 40s. And then at the end of the interview here, Leiha told me that no time while she was inside the cafeteria or later while exiting the school did she ever see anyone with a gun or anyone doing any shooting. Leiha told me she did not see Eric Harris or Dylan Klebold at any time. Leiha told me upon entering the cafeteria and up to the point she left the cafeteria, she did not recall any duffel bags or anything else she might consider suspicious or out of the ordinary. Leiha told me that to her knowledge, up to the time when she observed Redacted standing outside and the commotion that ensued thereafter, there had been no unusual commotion taking place inside the cafeteria. Prior to concluding the interview, I presented Leiha with a photo lineup to see if she could identify the individual who she had seen outside the cafeteria. Leiha read and signed the photographic lineup admonition at 12:37 p.m. Leiha then viewed the photo lineup showing Redacted in position number 3. Leiha immediately pointed to photo number 3 and said, that's him. Leiha then signed and dated the photo lineup from photo lineup form at 12:40 p.m., marking positive identification. And photo number 3. Said photo lineup was witnessed and signed by Leiha's mother, Colleen Murphy, and myself. Leiha then dated and initialed photograph number 3, 12:40 p.m. The photo lineup and associated forms were then collected by me. In addition, I collected the cafeteria map in which Leiha indicated the direction she took in order to exit the cafeteria and school. The interview was concluded at about 12:50 p.m. So it seems a lot of these damage control interviews occurred after the facts many months later. October 27th, 99. We have here Jeffco reporting officer Deputy Steve Luciano The purpose of the re-interview was to clarify Murphy's observations during the April 20th shootings. In the April 30th, 99 interview, Murphy stated she was certain she saw Redacted wearing a trench coat and standing near the sidewalk approximately 10 to 15 feet west of the cafeteria windows when the shooting started. Okay, so just skipping through here. Murphy stated she saw Redacted at school several times during her freshman year, enough times to recognize him. Murphy stated she does not ever recall seeing Dylan Klebold at school. I explained to Murphy that Redacted had been interviewed by task force investigators and he was submitted to and passed a polygraph test. I further advised Murphy that Redacted has an alibi which places him at home at the time of the shootings. His mom is his alibi. That's a good one. Okay, or his girlfriend. I then showed Murphy a series of 4 photographs taken from the video camera in the cafeteria, and these are of Dylan Klebold. After looking at the photos, Murphy agreed that the person she saw in a trench coat standing at the bottom of the cement stairs certainly could have been Dylan Klebold and not Redacted. So they're basically just continuing to talk to her, making it clear that if she doesn't admit that it's Dylan Klebold, there's just going to be endless ongoing interviews. I mean, what's going on here? Under this, and we also don't really know the context or the tone of this interview, but what could she do? Is clearly there's pressure here for her to just admit it's Dylan Klebold. I mean, look at the language here. Without going into specific details, I explained to Murphy and her mother that the investigation into the shootings had been extremely thorough, and at this point, task force investigators can confidently conclude, based on the evidence, that Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold acted alone. Now, even though she didn't even see a shooter, she didn't even see a gun in his hand, she just positively identified a guy she clearly knew. Now, she did not know Dylan, that's fine, but she clearly knew this guy. She had seen him the previous year. She had seen his super long hair and his not incredible tall size of 6'3" plus in shoes or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. The interview was concluded with Murphy and her mother understanding and feeling comfortable with my explanation. Even though this investigator was not there, does not know who that individual was, and yet they're telling her what she saw. Additionally, Murphy understood that the person she initially thought was Redacted was in fact Dylan Klebold. Now, how much did Dylan Klebold run around without his gun? And of course, his hair magically morphed. I mean, this is all just crazy. The mustache disappeared, the sideburns disappeared, and he turned into Dylan Klebold. It's just weird, but for all the coincidence theorists out there, even if there's no formal conspiracy here, let's say the investigator fully believes what they're saying, but they're still putting pressure on a student that was actually there and witnessed firsthand. So what would you put more stock into? I mean, how accurate is something going to be many, many, many months later when she clearly identified positively, not like some of these other sightings, which were kind of like they couldn't really tell, they thought it looked like so-and-so.